A freighter carrying iron ore is taking on water in Lake Superior. The Coast Guard says the ship hit something underwater just before 7 o'clock this morning, about 35 miles southwest of Isle Royale, Michigan. That's an island closer to Minnesota near the U.S.-Canadian border. Half of the crew has been evacuated for safety. The ship is 689 feet long. It is now on its way to a port for inspection and repairs.
This news story happens to be very strange. It happens to be very mysterious. And already they are backtracking the original narrative. Now look, in every one of my videos, I do promote a healthy level of skepticism. I don't believe going too far into the deep end without some proof. But when we have multiple news agencies running with the skeptical version, somebody needs to look at it in another light. As most of you know, I have been covering some very bizarre anomalies in the waters, mainly what's taking place over in Antarctica. The logical and the main media version of what's taking place over at Beauvais Island is that it's just a glitch, bro. But as we look further into this anomaly, we find that this anomaly appears on other weather applications and also on NASA satellites. Not just that, but also very strange and weird weather occurs around the same time that this anomaly appears. So it's not just a glitch, and once again, the logical will not always explain what's happening. But not just on Beauvais Island, but a very mysterious blob anomaly very similar to what appears over on Beauvais Island has also appeared in the Great Lakes as well. A very large blob or a ring, which they are dubbing a warm spot, they cannot give an actual answer as to why it's there or what has caused it. Even though this is very similar as to what has taken place on Beauvais Island, what has taken place in the Great Lakes was pretty much swept under the rug. We never got a real answer. Well, once again, we do have another mystery taking place in the Great Lakes, more specifically Lake Superior. On June 8, 2024, the Great Lakes USCG, which is the United States Coast Guard, received a report at 6:53 in the morning from a shipping vessel that they collided with something underwater and are taking on water approximately 35 miles southwest of Isle Royale. So now whatever this ship collided into caused enough damage that it opened up the ship, and now water happens to be flooding inside the ship. The ship had departed from Two Harbors, Minnesota and was bound for Thunder Bay in Canada. 35 miles outward to its journey, this is when the collision occurred with the object. And you need to understand that Lake Superior is deep. It's the deepest of the Great Lakes with a maximum depth of 1,332 feet. So 35 miles into Lake Superior, they're not going to come into any contact with any rocks sticking out of the lake. These 22 crew members aboard this freighter, they were very adamant that they hit something in Lake Superior. Like I said, this is what they reported back to the United States Coast Guard. People who have experience going out into the sea, into the oceans, into the waters, they know the difference between hitting something and not hitting something. There is a clear distinction there. The freighter, which was carrying taconite, which is a low-grade iron ore, water pumps on board began displacing water, authorities said, and there were no signs that anything spilled from the ship. As of right now, we do not know what happened to this freighter ship or what this ship may have hit, but as I'm reading this article from Newsweek.com, you can see that the narrative will slowly change. Lauren Thomas, External Affairs Division Chief for the 9th Coast Guard District, was quoted by CNN as saying that investigators will probe whether the hull was damaged by running aground, hitting a fixed or floating object, suffering a hull failure, or perhaps a combination of various factors. But as Newsweek.com reminds us, the United States Coast Guard of Great Lakes had posted on Twitter as the incident unfolded that the agency said the ship had struck something underwater, and they actually used the word collided, which is a nautical term for meaning to strike a stationary object. So what's making them use the word collided? What's making them so sure that they hit something underwater that it was stationary? Did they feel the hit? Did they see something? Was something on their radar? The good news happens to be that there were no injuries reported on the ship. All the crew members on the freighter were safely taken off. Now with the good news out of the way, there has been a lot of speculation and theories just as to what this ship hit in Lake Superior. This article even states that the incident has sparked speculation online about the possible unidentified submerged object, the USO, the nautical equivalent of a UFO. We are definitely going to go over some of those theories because I do love reading people's theories, especially on mysteries like this, but this article happens to end with the fact that this is not the first time that a USO mystery has gripped ocean fans. In April, a wave modeling website suggested a huge underwater object was moving at incredible speeds alongside the African coast. So they just happened to be referring to that anomaly over on Beauvais Island. But Newsweek later revealed the anomaly was simply an error on the data model. Thank you so much, Newsweek, for solving that mystery for us. But we actually do have an update from the same Coast Guard who were originally reported by the crew to have hit something. We know we are not going to get the truth as to what occurred when they say things like, it didn't happen this way, we can't take it 100% off the table, but it definitely did not happen the way you think it happened. The spokesman for the United States Coast Guard, Joe Snyder, stated, an underwater collision still can't be 100% ruled out, but there is no evidence to indicate the ship struck a submerged object. The gash in the ship's hull is likely due to a stress fracture, which I guess can happen, but like I said, the ship's crew had made the distinction that they hit something. But listen to this part. The first reports from the ship indicated an underwater collision, but later conversations with crew members and an initial assessment of the ship indicated the cause could be something else. So it sounds like that the crew members had that talk that they better not talk, because it was the crew members who have originally said that they hit something, and they used specific wording to describe that whatever they hit was stationary. That is just what I'm not understanding. The crew members, they have specific wording for what goes on and around a ship. They have specific wording for when it comes to hitting something. So like I said, they know the distinction between hitting something and something in the ship giving way. When there is stress on a ship and a fracture occurs, I am sure there are warning signs and warning sounds that something is about to rip open on this ship. So the crew members they had the talking to, they were told, you better tell everybody it was global warming that caused the fracture on the ship, and we will sweep this story under the rug. I don't know, just very bizarre times. We do know once again there's an anomaly floating over in Lake Michigan, which is a part of the Great Lakes. So who knows if it made its way over to Lake Superior. But get this, only a few hours later in Lake Superior, on the exact same day, June 8th, a 21-foot fishing vessel, a fishing boat, happened to have capsized. 5 people were on this fishing boat, 3 were rescued, but 2 others could not be found, neither could the boat. But on Monday morning, the boat and both of the victims were found in 220 feet of water. There goes that number 22 again. Somebody look into that number 22. The freighter that hit something in the water in Lake Superior had 22 crew members. This boat with these 2 victims, they were found in 220 feet of water. So what does the number 22 mean? It's just a weird coincidence that early in the morning we had a freighter hit something in Lake Superior, or reported to have hit something, and then a few hours later, on the other side of Lake Superior, we have a fishing boat capsize. We don't know what caused this boat to capsize. It could have been anything. It could have been the winds, it could have been the waters itself, or just like with the freighter, it could have hit something. That is very interesting. And if these vessels are indeed hitting something, then what are they hitting? There's multiple theories as to what's going on in Lake Superior. There are a lot of people saying that there could be a Russian sub inside the Great Lakes, that it made its way over from Florida. There could be some kind of ley line and energy where portals are being created where USOs or UFOs are traveling in and out of. There was footage of a UFO going into the water and then disappearing. So there is a connection between the waters and UFOs. There are other theories suggesting that it could be sea monsters, that captains of other vessels that have collided into something on Lake Superior or on the Great Lakes have themselves stated that they have encountered sea monsters. While that does indeed sound silly, we really don't know as the public what really resides in these waters. There have been multiple reports by different people that they have seen weird lights over Lake Michigan. The Great Lakes have always been subject to weird stories, weird encounters, weird sightings. So we really can't take anything off the table. We can't take the logical off the table either. But again, like I said, anything and everything can take place when it comes to the Great Lakes. Interestingly enough, the Great Lakes even has its own version of Stonehenge. In 2007, while searching for the remains of sunken ships, scientists discovered a stone structure at the depth of 12 meters in Lake Michigan. The discovery was made by Mark Holley, a professor of underwater archaeology at Northwestern University of Michigan, and his colleague Brian Abbott. They believe that this building, similar to Stonehenge, is about 9,000 years old. Also is the fact on one of the stones there is a carving in the form of mastodon, which died out more than 10,000 years ago. The exact coordinates of the find are still kept secret. This condition was put by local Indian tribes who do not want the influx of tourists and curious on their land. The Great Lakes do indeed have a bizarre history, but going back to this story, it's just very weird how two vessels seem to have ran into something with one of the boats capsizing on the same exact day, only a few hours apart. I'm not a coincidental channel, so something is indeed telling me that something is occurring, something is happening inside Lake Superior. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this channel and you want to see more, please subscribe. If you're already subscribed, please like, as any engagement does help the channel grow. Once again, thank you so much for your support.